I have a story to tell. When I was like my first real job, like my first office job was with a small internet marketing company.
Yeah.
And I think I've told this story before. My best friend was the director of sales for this company, which had 3 people.
I'm picturing you two running
I know.
that office.
It was horrible. It was horrible. But there wasn't any office to run.
Yeah.
It literally was 4 other people.
Right.
So it was like 5 people, and he had like the senior vice president of sales or whatever for a company that got a sale at once every 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a
You can
tiny
give yourself
little company.
titles when
Yeah,
you're
sure.
like that.
Just
Yeah.
change your title, whatever. Whatever you want to call yourself. So he decided he was going to move to Costa Rica, and when he did, the guy who owned the place, it was 2 brothers that owned it, and the guy who owned the place, like the CEO, he's a real interesting character, and he was telling Rafa, he's like, you can't leave me without a sales director. That's pretty shitty or whatever. And Rafa was like, no, I got a plan. I've got a silver-tongued devil that can come in and work your sales
That's
department.
right.
And meanwhile, I was like a drunk bartender at some hop skippity doo bar and treehouse bar where the old ladies hit on me, and so Rafa's like, put on a suit and a tie and come down to 102 whatever, and I come down there and I have no fucking clue what I'm talking. I didn't even know there was Google, let alone that I could sell Google. I didn't know what that shit was all about.
Yeah.
But I walk in and the guys, it's me and Rafa and this guy, and the guy's like, so what do you know about sales? And I'm like, well, I know how to sell a drink. I know how to pour a cocktail.
Right.
Okay. And he's like,
I know how to upsell.
He's got this like binder, all CEOs of
yeah.
running upstart companies have a binder. And he's just like checking shit off. He's like,
Was it like a leather
yeah,
portfolio?
yeah, leather portfolio. He's got,
Place for the pen inside.
yeah. And he always
Calculator.
He always wore a 3-piece suit, even though there was no one up. I mean, it was like in the middle of downtown Atlanta, it's a warehouse. But he was like, okay, and tell me about your experience with the internet. And I'm like, I have an email address.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to get on it.
I have an MSN Yahoo address. But I don't even think I had internet. I mean, I swear to God, this is like so. Okay, we can teach you that, I guess. And Rafa's like the whole time, he's like, don't worry, I'll teach him. He's good, right? So
I'll teach him everything I know.
So I get this job, and I become the sales director, and I do okay. I experienced the growth curve with the company.
Yeah.
I would say less had to do with my sales ability and more had to do with the fact that the internet was taking off, and any of these companies, to some degree, if they had their shit together, were going to be successful.
Right.
Because everybody started to realize,
I remember that. Yeah.
I need to figure out how to work this internet thing.
Yes.
Right. So one day, Rafa's down in Costa Rica, and he is still selling like remotely for the company. And I am in the brand new office space that they're in, this beautiful office space that we had gotten. And I get a phone call from Rafa, and he's like, dude, are you sitting down? And I'm like, well, no, now I'm standing up because nothing ever good comes after are you sitting down? Because now I'm stressed out. Now I'm standing up. I'm
Something's coming.
literally pacing around the office. What do you fucking want?
Right.
Yeah. And he says, I want you to go check out this website. And the website, I'm not going to give the website away because I don't want to. I highly doubt anybody that would be relevant to the story is listening besides Rafa. But it's like orgasmhelp.com.
Okay.
Right? Orgasmhelp.com. And I'm like, what? And he's like, type that in. Just type that in.
Just do it.
And he's like, I just hope you're sitting down. So I type orgasmhelp.com into the browser, and up comes a website from a guy who purports to be the orgasm specialist, right? He's a guy he's not a doctor. He's never studied anything medical in his
Love
life. Yeah, he's
doctor.
not a sex therapist. He's just a guy
Yeah.
who's written a book called orgasmhelp.com or succeedorgasm.com
Yeah,
or whatever.
If you
it's
write
called.
a book,
If you write a book, yeah, it's like Brian on the commercial break, being an expert of everything and knowing no facts.
Right.
This guy is that guy. I am this guy. This guy is me. Only I don't dedicate a whole website to my bullshit. Well, I did tcbpodcast.com.
We've dedicated a whole podcast.
Whole podcast, a whole 100 and 200 episodes. See how long that lasts. So I'm like, okay. And he's like, dig into the website a little bit. So I start digging in, and there are graphic, colorful pictures of these techniques that he is showing. He is doing them on a model, right? And showing very intimate parts
Yeah.
of a woman's vagina and everything. I mean, it's not it is porn, but it's not framed as porn.
It was like clinical.
Clinical.
Yeah.
Yeah. But clinical in a,
Yeah,
like my
in a
dick's in
creepy
this girl's
way.
vagina. Yeah. And I'm pressing her, I'm pressing her AB. Remember the Nintendo? AB,
jump,
jump,
go.
up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
Yeah. The orgasm. And I'm like, okay. And then I start flipping through the pictures and I'm like, oh my God, I know this person.
Yeah.
And this person was a girl that I dated for a really long time. And I hadn't dated her in months, years, right? At that time I was with my ex-wife, but
Yeah. Wow.
she was there.
Okay.
And he's like, I don't know what you want me to do with this, but this guy called us. He like submitted a form and he wants us to like do a full like $50,000 promotional campaign. And we couldn't believe this because the girl was beautiful. Not that she could, I mean, she was beautiful, gorgeous. She was the perfect person to do this kind of modeling, but none of us had thought that this girl would be that
was
girl.
that, yeah.
She wasn't goody two shoes, but she kind of was a little.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know what you want me to do. And he's like, I don't know. Maybe you should call her and tell her. And I'm like, well, I'm sure she knows
Right,
that
you would think
there was a
so.
camera in the room.
Right.
Like there's well lit. There's an old man's wrinkly dick in her. Like, I mean, this is like, she's got to know. So he says, well, I don't know what you want to do with the information, but I'm going to tell this guy we can't do this because of conflict of interest, but blah, 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 blah. So I ended up calling the girl and I'm like, hey, listen, I got some, I don't know if you know this, but just type are you alone?
What have you been up to?
Yeah, say, what have you been up to?
I know we haven't talked.
Do you know a guy named Bob, the orgasm specialist from orgasmhelp.com? The orgasmtutor.com. Yeah, okay. The orgasm nurse or whatever it is. And so she says, she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, okay, go to this website when you have a chance and just call me back. Because she wasn't in a place. 15 fucking minutes later, she calls me back and she's like, and by the way, I haven't talked to this girl in like a year. And she says, oh my God. Well, how do you know about this? And where did these pictures? She's like, I wanted to go to Europe with my friend and we needed some money. And this guy that I know that had come to a restaurant I was working at offered to pay me to do these pictures that he said were just for his personal collection and they would never get out there. And I'm like, girl, they're out there and they ain't never gonna. Yeah, girl. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. It's me, orgasmnurse.com. I just wanted to let you know all those pictures you took. Yep, they're on the website.
Right. I posted them.
Hey girl, it's me, orgasmnurse.com. Just want to let you know that, remember all those personal pictures I was going to keep for my collection? I bought a billboard. I got a Super Bowl ad. Tell your parents to turn off the Super Bowl. You're coming up in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I'm like, holy fucking shit.
Wow.
Wow. And I said, I don't know what I can tell you. And she's like, what do I do? How do I get these pictures down? And I'm like, honey, you got to call that guy directly. Like, I don't know what your deal is, but how sick do you have to be?
I know.
Some old guy at the bar offered, and she's like, he paid me like $1,000. And I'm like,
That's not enough.
That's not enough.
That
is not enough, right? This is the early days of the internet. There aren't as many websites as there are now.
Right.
Somebody's going to find this, right? And she's like, oh, okay. So it turns out she calls the guy and he decides that he's not going to do this promotional campaign. That's the agreement that I'm going to keep the website up and drive all my friends to it, but don't worry. Don't worry. You won't be, you won't be at the top of the search results for orgasm.
I'll keep you down there.
So there is this place that I am now going to see the public access videos. It's called the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive takes a picture every couple of months of every website ever. That is called the Wayback Machine or the Wayback Machine. So almost every website that's ever been has some kind of history on the Wayback Machine. You can go back, you can take a look at it. So the other night I was like, I was thinking about this story and I'm like, I wonder if this guy ever took the pictures down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's
he didn't.
The pictures are, because the website is so old, because it's like 15 years old. The pictures, the website is gone now, right? It's a different website altogether. Same URL, different website owned by a different person.
Mm-hmm.
That means the root file is gone. So the pictures that were there are not there, but the website still shows up with all the words and everything. But it turns out this guy, then he went from website to book. He made a book about this. And
oh my God.
sells it on Amazon. Now, I can't see any of the pictures.
Right.
But I can see the reviews. And the reviews are like, who's the model? Super hot. It's like, and one lady put,
not clinical.
I'm trying to give this a serious review, but when half the book is literally pictures of the author boning some young girl, I have a hard time doing that. And I was like, oh Shit.
Yep.
Should I call her again?
No.
No, not gonna do it.
No.
Nya, 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 as my daughter would say.
No,
Nya, nya,
no,
nya,
no,
nya.
no.
That's just a lesson to all you kids out there. If you're gonna take
Right.
nude photographs, get more than $1,000 because it's probably worth
Yes.
more than $1,000. When I did my photo shoot for my trip to Europe,
Yes.
I'm now on fatoldguy.com. I'm on antiorgasmnurse.com if you want to.